It's my last day at Disney World, and I couldn't ignore this story because it's just that insane. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. We have the infamous Nick Calandra being completely obliterated by Frost of Rivia, the other Frost, Sebastian Ruiz, talking about why he left Second Wind and why this organization is completely falling apart, and how he's talking about dismantling everything about Nick Calandra, showing proof, tangible evidence, screenshots, text messages, Discord messages, like everything about Nick Calandra is out there on the table for all to see. So yes, while it's not too shocking to me knowing Nick Calandra and the type of person he is, seeing it come to light, seeing it out there for all to see right now, the way it's being done is just so sweet. It's so glorious. It's so satisfying to see the truth getting out there. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full, exhaustive story talking about this entire dismantling by Sebastian Ruiz, destroying the career of Nick Calandra. The gaming industry has seen its fair share of controversies, but few figures have consistently demonstrated such detrimental impact to it like Nick Calandra has. For years, Calandra's been a master manipulator behind the scenes in game media, pulling the strings and getting his way, making backroom deals, and tit for tat. You do this, I'll make a good review for you, give me this money, give me a trip, and I'll make sure your game gets the good press coverage. You know, a lot of what happened in the original Gamergate is coming back to bite Nick Calandra in the ass once again. His tenure across various organizations has left a trail of unethical behavior, financial mismanagement, and broken trust. Frost of Rivia, a well-respected content creator and former collaborator, released a video pulling back the curtain and completely exposing Calandra's extreme toxic influence. Nick Calandra is a manipulative liar that has failed those around him time and time again. And this video Frost released was so insane that even I, knowing as bad as a person Nick Calandra is, could not have expected it to go this far. In the video, Frost details piece by piece his experiences with Calandra, providing a damning account of his behavior. Far from being a simple disagreement, his video meticulously breaks down how Calandra's actions have not only undermined the projects he was involved in, but also eroded the trust and goodwill of the communities he was supposed to serve in the first place. You know, the entire reason that they formed Second Wind was to not be like the professional media out there. Well, turns out, according to Frost, that's actually exactly what Second Wind decided to do.
He was making deals behind the scenes without them knowing. I even found one where he threw in a positive review to sweeten the deal. All for flights, gifts, job favors, documentary opportunities, none disclosed.
The video highlights two major points of contention: why several team members appeared to resign in solidarity against Calandra, and whether the situation was linked to an alt-right agenda. Frost professionally and perfectly debunked both narratives. The resignations were not in support of Calandra. They were a direct result of his financial mismanagement, which had left the organization hemorrhaging money. The accusation of the alt-right grift was dismissed, with Frost making it clear that the issue is not political, but ethical. Frost could not stand with this organization any longer after everything that was uncovered with Nick Calandra.
Offsetting his costs with income from other sources to mislead associates. Consistent overpromising, underspending, and underdelivering that put other people's jobs on the line when layoffs come through. Pushing for content that validated his own views and tastes while discouraging any content that took a stance against his own biases. Prioritizing his own raises and money for his projects while holding back the upwards mobility of his coworkers, and also prioritizing his publicity to the detriment of others.
One of the most alarming revelations from Frost's video is the consistent pattern of deception that Calandra had displayed throughout his career. From his time at Gamumentary to his tenure at The Escapist and beyond, Calandra had engaged in unethical practices that have severely damaged the organizations that he had led. Each time, Nick Calandra would overpromise, underdeliver, and give some backhanded statement as to why he can't give the information or why he's the one in charge because he's the professional in the room. Just trust him.
One last question, just kind of a shot in the dark here. How much is Enthusiast paying for Gamumentary and the site as a whole?
Not telling you that.
Okay.
Frost talks about how at The Escapist, Calandra's mismanagement led to massive financial losses, with the cost skyrocketing to his reckless spending and failed projects. Instead of taking responsibility, Calandra shifted the blame like he always does, portraying himself as the victim of circumstances well out of his control, because it could never have been Calandra's fault that spiraling costs and things that he was spending money on were his fault. Frost's video also exposes how Calandra misrepresents audience feedback. He manipulated team members, isolated those who disagreed with him. It created a toxic work environment that ultimately led to the collapse of the teams he was supposed to lead in the first place. Everything about Nick Calandra is being shown here. None of this even gets at his serious cyber-stalking attempts. Like, when he has a disagreement with someone on Twitter, the dude is like addicted to attacking and trying his best to destroy anyone's argument. Even if he's in the wrong, he doesn't care. He wants to try to undermine you to make you look awful. And if he can't do that, he's going to silence you any way he can, as he's displayed multiple times to me, even trying to get my website taken down, trying to get me fired from where I work, trying to get my funding sources taken away, all because I decided to simply cover what I felt like was a dude that was a bad thing for the game industry. And God, did he take that personal. And clearly, it's not just me.
He feels wronged by people in games media, and Nick holds grudges. The issue is that Nick also has a problem with perception. It creates this catch-22 where if Nick wrongs you and you stand up for yourself, then he feels he can retaliate. But if Nick wrongs you and you don't do anything, then he thinks you're holding it in and plotting your revenge, which angers him, so he feels he can strike first. And anything can set him off. Important example here. For as long as I've known Nick, he hated this one specific individual with a passion, and what drove him up the walls was the way this person pretended to not know Nick. I reached out to this guy, and lo and behold, he actually didn't know who Nick was. You can check Twitter if Nick leaves this up by the time this goes through and see that he has never acknowledged Nick once, but Nick has tweeted at him. I went and double-checked with somebody else to make sure this guy really didn't know Nick, and he has given the exact same responses. He genuinely didn't know Nick. Nick's arch-nemesis wasn't pretending to not know him. He didn't know he even existed, and Nick was holding a one-sided grudge this entire time.
The situation reached a breaking point when Calandra's mismanagement became too egregious to ignore, prompting not just Frost, but other colleagues to either resign or be fired in his wake. The implications of Calandra's behavior extend well beyond the organizations that he's mismanaged. His unethical conduct threatened the integrity of games media as a whole, which is exactly why Frost was calling for Nick not just to be out of the organization of Second Wind, but to completely be removed from the game industry entirely. People like this are exactly what's wrong with it. Frost detailed how Calandra traded positive coverage and favorable reviews for personal gain, and Calandra blurred the lines between journalism and PR, which eroded the trust that audiences place in gaming outlets. The reason why people watch you. If they don't have your trust, what do they have? And all for what? A quick buck? It's almost like it's failed every time Nick Calandra has gone to an organization and completely tanked it into the ground, and his brain is telling him, yep, I'll just start a new organization and do it all over again and screw the customers one more time. And it's all coming to light right now. People are finally catching up to it, 3 organizations deep, that this dude has a track record of destruction. Frost's video revealed that Calandra had a history of accepting gifts, trips, and job opportunities in exchange for positive coverage. The practice in itself undermines the very foundation of ethical journalism. Like, yikes! Double yikes! How do you even get away with this once? Never mind 3 times. Calandra's actions have destroyed the credibility of the content produced under his leadership. Frost explains everything being published during Calandra's tenure is now subject to scrutiny. Nobody can trust or believe anything they've read or seen from Calandra based off of the evidence that's been presented now. If Calandra has been impacted by accepting gifts from these organizations for positive coverage, or just taking a look at the game and wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I'll make sure to give this a good review, or I'll look at it in a good light or a positive light, or I'll tell my audience it's pretty good. If you guys, I don't know, give me a trip somewhere, or I don't know, give me a virtual reality device, or give me something for my home that I can use myself, I'll make sure that I take care of you guys too. And here's why I'm so pissed off about this. Like, I look at the games industry as a self-destructing force of allowing people like Nick Calandra or Alyssa Mercante or other people out there that are just giving half a story, not giving people all the information so they can't make up their mind based off the actual reality that's presented in front of them. Then they have to use only the information that's been given to them by these quote unquote professionals. The problem is people only get one side of the story. It's a lopsided view. It's a skewed perspective of reality where these game companies are finding ways to be successful without producing good games. Frost Video is the turning point. It not only exposed Calandra for the manipulative liar that he is, but more importantly, it serves as a call to action for the entire gaming community on the whole. Calandra's behavior is not just a personal failing, it's a systematic problem that, as we found out, if left unchecked, turns into what this has become, having far-reaching consequences for the entire video game industry at large, where viewers or the audience would put their trust in someone just to find out that the person they were trusted was deceiving them all along. And as far as Second Wind is concerned and how they're handling this, yes, they have put out a statement from some of the people that work there. And yes, if I find the time, I will be covering that as well. But I wanted to make sure I got this information out there as well, because this is the starting point for the downfall of Second Wind. Like, we all knew this was coming. We saw the wave far in the distance, when Frost left and said, I'm going to make a video exposing this. We saw it coming. Second Wind saw it coming. And now it's here. And the destruction is just beginning. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information on this story in particular, check out smashjt.com. I will link that in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, please consider hitting that join button. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, you stay smashing.
For Plus, taking equipment and product meant for press and publications under the guise of coverage and keeping it for personal use. Based on evidence found, Nick seems to have been using his own personal Steam account as the main Steam account for each of his publications he's worked at for over the past 10 years, allowing hundreds of press codes for games to be funneled directly into his personal Steam account rather than that of any individual publication. They follow him where he goes.